Okay. Apologies for this stream being a little bit later than normal. I am waiting for Di. But Di's gone to take a shower. Hear you. I see you. Welcome. I take it you've played the fan translation of the game, or you might have already finished this version here. And of course, Tara. I really need to get some super glue for this hat so I can fix this. And it's already coming out. Awesome. All right, so with what we, I need to open up a guide. So I'm gonna recap. That's not what I want. We're gonna recap what happened last time. Excuse me here. Let me open this up. We are going to part 2. So, there was an assassination attempt on the president. We've learned that the president is still alive. But we also learned that Rook was killed at the very end of this. Because Knight told us. Knight happens to be one of the bodyguards that was present at the time of the assassination. Excuse me. Hey Bala. That's fine. Lurking is fine. I'm still waiting for Di anyways. Di went to take a shower. So that's where we're going to be starting off here, is on the president's plane. That's where we're going to begin as soon as Diusi gets here. As you've noticed that Diusi is at the situation where she won't be doing the logic test or mind test, as it's called in here. So the mind test that's in this game, I'm doing it all because it's all timed, and it would be a little bit difficult for her to figure things out in the time frame that they have it. I think they give you about a minute to figure things out. And you're typing it and trying to figure things out. That's not enough time. So I'm doing the mind test, as it's called in this one. It was called logic chess in the fan translation. And I did stay on who was I did state who they originally were called in the fan translation. President Wang was Duang in the fan translation. Rook was still pretty much Rook, but his first name was different. Alright. We'll wait for Di when she gets here. Anybody that's still in chat, what have you all been working on, doing? Anybody interested in the game that we're developing? I've been working on the mini game in the game, but I think I may have to close that off for the demo's sake, so we can actually get more, so I can get some more help on that one. So it seems like everything we were trying to do for it, it just isn't working. So we're trying to figure out ways to fix it. So we'll probably lock that off for the demo purpose. So far what we have right now, we could actually do a demo of it. However, we're going to make one last big play test. I don't even have the casino ready yet. So, and there's going to be a bunch of other side quests, but we're going to work on the side quests a little bit later once we have everything planned out. So I think what we're going to end up doing is, even after you guys finish off, whoever's play testing it, they finish off the first area, everything's going to be locked with NPCs saying, hey, this is the end of the demo. Please return later when there's more ready to be available. Phoenix? We're waiting for Di. Why haven't you been to the Discord streams? Are you not going to answer my question? Are you not going to answer my question? Sure, just comes in and says hi, and then does not answer my question. I didn't say right now. I never said right now. Never said right now. Welcome back, Di. All right. With the death of Bastian Brooke and the revelation that Shelley the Killer was in our midst, the case had taken a turn we could have never predicted. Mr. Knight ordered the door to the presidential plane be opened. The emergency personnel attending to Mr. Rook's body were asked to leave. With the scene cleared, we stepped cautiously aboard. March 25th, 4:15 p.m. Thing file, presidential plane. No president in sight. Now where could he be? Who knows? Ah, so he's hiding behind the bulkhead door over there, is he? As courageous in the face of danger as ever. Ha! Sorry to disappoint, but you seriously expect him to be standing here waiting to meet his assassin? As we are already established, my interest lies only into successful conclusion of this investigation. No, Mr. Edgeworth, if you'd be so kind as to examine the body. Alright. So I'm not entirely sure why I'm working for the assassin, but here we go. All field goals. Steelers in the lead. My only option right now is to play along. The rest is up to you, Detective Gumshoe. So, the attempted assassination of the president has become the murder of a bodyguard. You look like you could use a little help there, Mr. Edgeworth. Not that I need it, but yes. That's what I thought. Then, there's nothing else for it. Okay, Faraday, great thief extraordinaire, will just have to take it from here. Oh, really? You mean you're going to solve the case for me? Nope. I thought not. But I will provide vital assistance. Now, let's get to scouring the crime scene from top to bottom. It will take Detective Gumshoe a while to assemble our backup, so I'll need to draw this part of the investigation out for as long as possible. Think file presidential plane. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? So, there were two red-hooded assassins. Oh, I don't know if we can say that they were... say that with any certainty just yet. But Mr. the Killer is a presidential assassin, right? And Tabby was pointing a laser sight at the president. I give up. This one's a real mind bender. If the truth cannot be discerned, It is because something is obscuring it. Oh, I gotcha. So if we can swipe that something, the next treasure we bag will be the truth. Yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I've been studying up on how to investigate like a pro, you know. Have you really? That's good to hear. Yeah, so basically you examine stuff and that helps you figure out what evidence and information to bag. Then you collect some of that info and pick it up. Present some evidence you've pocketed. And poof! Suddenly you're making off with the great treasure of all, the truth. Well, can't say I haven't been putting the work in, can you? I applaud the effort, Kay. I can't believe a real-life assassin is asking us to investigate a real-life crime. Indeed. Just what is his game? Either way, all we can do is push on ahead. Let's do this, Mr. Edgeworth. For Mr. Ruck. Yes, indeed. Let's investigate the body. We need to investigate this body. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. So, Dai, are you going to be able to remember this one too? I'm pretty sure you got the other one burned in your brain by now. I won't rest until I investigate every suspicious nook and cranny, right? This one might get burned in your brain too. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. Though in the fan translation, the other one was used a lot. The bullet seems to have entered just under his armpit and went clean through the body. The bullet passed through the victim. Where did it end up? Probably in the balloon. He was hit in an area his bulletproof vest didn't cover. Like it was on purpose or something, huh? Cause of death would appear to be loss of blood. Attempts were made to stanch it, but to no avail. I see no jotted down in my organizer. The medics must have been brought in to try and save him. Sadly, it was too little too late. It's the victim, Mr. Bastian Rook, bodyguard to the president of Zhengfa. He's one of the guys that brought the president inside as soon as the shooting started, which means he continued to do his duty right up until his dying breath. At least he's got posthumously promoted. Okay? Better to know when to say nothing at all than to end up with your foot in your mouth. Well, what do you mean? I mean, bodyguards don't even operate on the same rank promotion system as the police in the first place. The bulletproof attaché case. Bodyguards use them to shield their clients from gunfire. There were some in Kay's photograph too. Looked like Rook and Knight each had one. Bulletproof attaché case data jotted down in my organizer. Oh hey! That's the photo I snatched! You can hardly steal a photo at a public event, Kay. But I'm snatching up a moment in time when every picture I take, you know. I take it snatch is your new favorite word? Maybe. So the victim was also carrying a revolver. Looks like he was trying to use it. He probably drew it on instinct when he felt threatened. We should check to see if he managed to fire any rounds off. All there, and no other signs of weapon have been used. Was there one on loan from the Zhengfa too? Yep, sure was. We're always issued with the same model gun. 6-shot revolver on loan from Zhengfa has not been fired. I didn't do it. I'm a reporter. I bag scoops, not souls. But then why lie about your jacket? On the laser sight. That was... I just... knew you would think it was fishy. Is that really all it was? Please, you gotta believe me. I could never do something like this. I'd like to tell you everything will be alright, but just try not to worry too much. If you really are innocent, I'll prove it, one way or another. Thanks, Chief. I believe in you. How many times may I tell you, I am not your chief. Oh, sorry, Ruffles. Clean forgot you were chief number 2. That's not what I meant. Alright. It's hard work being somebody's trusted sidekick. I don't remember asking you to be one. And how come you get to do all the detectiving and have all the fun? It's no fair! I don't remember becoming a detective either. But you've got the brains for it. All you're missing is a pipe in your head. I'm not sure I know what we're talking about anymore. Are you kidding? We're talking about how to be the perfect sidekick. Maybe I should keep a database where I can store all the vital information we find. But then I'd just be doubling up on what you already do, huh? I should never have bothered asking. See what we can do here. Alright, it looks like we could piece 2 together. What do you think, Di? No, Phoenix, her name is Tabby Lloyd. These won't work. These won't work right now. Yeah, I don't have any way of connecting these 2 together. For one, I don't even have any evidence to support the assassination attempt. Well, I can do the 6-piece revolver, but right now we don't even know where the bullet's at. So we might as well connect these 2. The 2 guns are exactly the same, meaning it's likely that the one we found is also from Zhengfa. Revolver data updated in my organizer. The bodyguards all got their guns from Zhengfa authorities, right? Yes. Are they like super rare or something or anything? No, I don't believe so. This model is isn't exactly easy to come by in this country, but it's certainly not impossible either. Boo! Here I thought they might be valuable treasures. Yes, it is something of a shame. Wow! I just mentioned treasure and you actually responded for once. Oh, I only mean to point out that if the guns were rarer, it would be much easier to trace them, which would have made them treasures of the evidence variety, I suppose. Ha! See? Everything's a treasure hunt, one way or another, including this investigation. You could say that. Alright then, it's treasure hunting time. On with the investigation. She certainly seems a lot more enthusiastic all of a sudden. There's a wide selection of protective equipment here. Bulletproof vests, hazmat gear. No way! There's even a spacesuit? That's a hazmat suit. I get the sense that the president thinks he's very much in need of protection at all costs. What if he was in a gunfight and there was poison gas everywhere and he was in space? What would we do then, huh? Then he'd simply put on the bulletproof vest and the hazmat gear and the spacesuit. That's probably easier said than done. That's not what I want. I have high hopes for your investigation. I do hope you won't betray my trust in you. Things are progressing well, I hope. There's no need to worry. Things are progressing just fine. Remember, I absolutely despise betrayals of all kinds. Yes, I know. Indeed you do. So please, do take care not to double cross me, accidentally or otherwise. Really have no choice but to do as he says for now. Can't believe I let an assassin onto the president's plane. You know very well it was for the good of the investigation, Mr. Knight. Don't give me that. I know what you really want. You do indeed, because you heard me say it already. Wish to know the truth behind Mr. Rook's death. Well, you did also say you were asked to assassinate the president by a certain someone? You seem to have forgotten that there are more pressing matters at hand. Back! I don't often carry out unpaid work, but it's not entirely unheard of. Fine. I'll get back to the investigation. Good. I'm expecting great things from you, Mr. Edgeworth. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. That looks heavy. So this is what a president wears, huh? Must be made of something super special. Yes, to protect him from bullets. What? So it's not just for show? Of course not. This is a bulletproof vest. Oh, so that's what one of those looks like. Why didn't you say so? Now I feel silly. You feel silly? Documents of some kind. We could always steal a glance. Another security plan. Oh, hey! Like the one from the trash can. Precisely. But wait, something feels off. So, Di, which are we going to be able to use on this one? This one should be very easy. There you go, that's it. The two plans are different. Was the security details rearranged at some point? Huh? Oh, you're right! Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. President's orders. Why the urgency? Because of what happened the day before. The killer here tried to take him down. He infiltrated the security details, posted as one of us. Rook figured it out first, but not before the guy got within striking distance of the president. If our leader hadn't stopped in just then, we'd all have been out of a job. I can understand where the killer injured his arm. And I can understand where Knight's got the neck brace. Can you see that, Di? But he made it. And our friend here wound up with a severely twisted arm. Rook put a bullet in it for good measures too. And where were you while this was happening? I on the floor getting strangled by the killer. You were the first one I overpowered, were you not? Oh! That's embarrassing. Shut up, kid! Oh, now I get it. Your neck has barely begun to heal, and you've already forgotten who I am. I'm disappointed. What? It's you! Busted up my neck so bad I can't even look to my right. I was somewhat astonished to have sustained an injury at all. Testament to Mr. Rook's skill. He was truly master of his craft. Like a certain other someone I could mention. Just as good as he ever was. You were a pawn to his queen, my young fellow. What the heck do you know? So that's what you remember, Mr. Rook. So that's why you remember Mr. Rook's name. You admire his skills as a bodyguard? Do you? While I was serving on the team, I learned the names of all the operatives. His, in particular, stayed with me. I joined the very short list of others who have ever successfully wounded me. So that's the connection he was talking about. And that's why we changed up the security plan. I had to be sure there wasn't any more assassins in the ranks. The president didn't want anybody on stage he didn't trust. and he only trusts two people. Me and Rook. Security plan data updated in my organizer. How does that explain your change of position? Oh yeah, he switched over to right-hand side. I told you, I can't turn my neck to the right. Could only cover the president's left side. So I wound up moving to the right side of the stage. Alright. What can we piece together now, Dai? We only have two that we can put together. Fortunately, that means the other two are still without connections. Well... We're getting 2 games. It looks like they're for the... That's it? No, N64. Alright. Okay, so this bulletproof vest that we're talking about is actually the president's vest. So we're going to do this one, and we are also going to do this one. Yes. Two bullets were fired in total. We know that this because 2 shots were heard. One traveled through the flag and into the balloon. The other took Mr. Rook's life. But there's a bullet in the president's vest too, right? How is that possible? Oh, indeed. The numbers don't add up. However, there is one possible explanation. There is? After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged into the vest. In other words, 2 of our bullets were in fact 1. No way! He's right. If the president hadn't been wearing the vest, things could have been a lot worse. And he wasn't injured at all by the impact. Even when obstructed by a vest, a bullet can inflict serious damage. Sure, I've known guys who got broken bones that way, but the president's okay. He's made of stuff, some stuff. Sounds like he didn't even need a vest. Let's not get carried away here. I want that bullet's ballistic marking analyzed. Remind me what those are again? Guns leave a unique pattern of grooves on every bullet they fire. By examining these grooves, we can use them to identify which gun it came from. Think of them as fingerprints of sort. You can tell that all from a bullet? Then what are we waiting for? Analyze away! Might be easier said than done. That bullet hits solid armor. The impact will have completely flattened it. You'll be lucky if there's anything left for forensic to find. What? But I was all set for some analyzing. Bulletproof best data jotted down in my organizer. These are remotes. These personal safety alarms are very colorful. Looks like they get a lot of use as well. I like the president. He seems like a thoughtful guy. Really? Buying these things for his kids, maybe his wife too? Why would they all be here if that was the case? No, these are for his own personal use. Objection, Your Honor! It is simply not possible for one person to use that many personal alarms. Why, you ask? Because he is human and therefore possesses only 2 hands. 20 hands couldn't be enough to count the number of objections I have to that objection. It's a bank of monitors display camera field from in and around the plane. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. Is this starting to burn in your head yet, Di? This monitor is displaying a feed of this very room. They didn't go cheap when they bought these, huh? Very high res. Oh, I'm afraid I can't quite tell myself, but I can even see the little crow's feet around your eyes. That's not even possible! My face is not even looking at the camera! Oh, my bad. They're just the, usual deeply etched lines, you know, on your forehead. If you've quite finished, these monitors are displaying the cockpit and parts of the plane's interior, but I don't see anything out of the ordinary. That's the outside of the plane. Most intruders could not hope to approach without being spotted. But such measures would be mere child's play in my case. Wow! You're saying you can get past cameras like these without being seen? Of course, please. You have to teach me how, please. Are you taking on apprentices by any chance? Okay, you do realize who you're talking to, don't you? Sorry. I had to ask though. What a great skill for a great thief to know. Unfortunately for you, I am not the type to take on understudies. You're not, huh? Shame. Shame? In what way exactly? What on earth is this? Oh, that? It's the president's favorite plushie. It's a memento. It's a memento of something. Anyways, don't touch. But if that's the case, then why has it been left up there like nobody cares about it? Yeah, that is pretty weird. Certainly wouldn't be the first place I would think to display a beloved item. Wait, are these shards of glass underneath it? Thought something seemed strange about this cubbyhole, but now I'm sure of it. There was almost certainly another monitor here. security monitor data jotted down in my organizer. That's quite enough investigating for now. What is taking so long, Detective Gumshoe? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, have you solved the case? No, not yet. That's so. And perhaps interviewing another key witness might help you do so. Another key witness? Who? You don't mean... Most important witness of all, the man on the other side of that door. His real intention to have me question the president? No, if you would be so kind as to summon him, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop right there, the killer! You're nuts if you think I'd let him anywhere near you. Well, Mr. President, I'm sure you are watching us through your security feed, aren't you? In which case, I probably request that you show yourself. That is, if you value your bodyguard's life. Urgh. Well then, if nothing else, we now know what kind of a man you really are. Mr. President! Stop! You can't do this! Let's all just calm down, alright? Come on, detective. Where the blazes are you? Eek! The lights, what's happening? Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth. I would advise you to stay very still. Seems I will not be granted my audience with the president after all. Even with Mr. Knight's life as my bargaining chip. No! Stop! Ugh! Eek! Hey! You won't get away with it, the killer! I have seen enough, and now I know the truth. Where are you? Where did you go? Ugh. I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth. Detective Gumshoe? Sir, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. March 25th, 4:14 p.m. St. Val Presidential Plane. I must have been knocked out unconscious. Sir, you okay? You alright, Mr. Edgeworth? Never mind me. He didn't hurt you, did he, Kay? Nah, I'm fine. Only just woke up myself. My head will be sore for a while, but that's about it. So you can stop worrying. Detective, did you manage to stop the killer? Well, see, Miss Lloyd came running out of the plane, and she told us he's blown the coop. We were too late. I'm sorry, sir. Bodyguard over there told us something too. Seems there was an inflated boat missing from by the window. The killer must have stolen it and rowed himself across the lake. What about the cordon around the plane? I'd call everybody back in to stake out the plane, including the guy stationed around the water. No! It was completely slipped through my fingers. Not the best look for the department, but yeah. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight? You're alive. Yeah, no thanks to that murderer. Oh, that reminds me. On this lying on the ground next to you, Mr. Edgeworth. calling card marked with a seashell. Guess he wanted to leave a message. Calling card data jotted down in my organizer. The killer usually leaves these next to the bodies of his victims. But you're not dead, sir. But I could have been. Maybe that's the message. Can't stop thinking about his parting words. I have seen enough. Now I know the truth. Leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. Now I know the truth. The truth about what? Roger that. All clear and out here, sir. Over. What's going on? That was the president. He's coming out. Now? So he's the president of Zheng Fa, Mr. Zhizhong Wang? And you are? It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. My name is Miles Edgeworth. The honor is all mine, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm Zhizhong Wang. Your efforts on behalf of Zheng Fa have not gone unnoticed. You averted something of a crisis. You must be referring to the Yadagrasu case. Thank you, sir. But all I did was solve a few local cases of murder. You are too humble. I've been observing your investigation. You are an impressive operator, Mr. Edgeworth. Even if the killer did get away. That's very kind of you to say. So he was watching to his security feed. Charlie, I must inform you that this is as far as your investigation goes. What do you mean? Hear me, foolish prosecutor, for I shall say this only once. Knight has apprised me of the state of the affair. And from this point forward, the case will be handled by Zheng Fa Police Force, the finest in the world. Even with the killer out of the picture, they're still looking to get me thrown off the case? What do you think you're doing, pal? Nobody talks to Mr. Edgeworth like that. If it hadn't been for him, the killer would have... Detective! Forgive him, Mr. President, but I must confess to being somewhat confused. I failed to see why this case falls within Zheng Fa's jurisdiction. Failed to see? Enough, puny prosecutor. You seek explanation from a head of state. I say no. 1,000 times no. I will not explain myself to you. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourself from this plane. I'd do as he say if I were you, Mr. Edgeworth. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Case evidence handed to Mr. Knight. Why? Why let us come so far only to pull the case out from under us? Now, you may leave. Knight, detain the suspect. Yes, sir, right away. To make an attempt on my life, to murder one of my faithful servants, the effrontery, the villainy. I didn't murder nobody. Did I? Shut your mouth, Miss Journalist. Answer me this. In a world already loudly with lies, with deception, with sin and inequality, can we stand by and suffer yet another crime to go unpunished? I say no. 1,000 times no. There can be no forgiveness. There can be no surrender. Why? You asked me? Then I will tell you. Hiding something. I'm certain of it. If I leave now, we'll never know the truth. Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, there's got to be something we can do. Think, Miles. Remember, how many times have you faced situations like this in the courtroom? You've confronted the lies of witnesses and countered the arguments of other lawyers. Has the critical evidence always been laid at your feet? No. And you always go to the truth of the situation in the end. With your greatest weapon of all, your words. Now, let us analyze this state of play. Begone, puny prosecutor, or do you dare defy the direct orders of a president? He's not going to listen. He clearly means to draw out any objection by means of pure critical force. When an opponent is on the offensive, the best thing I can do is abide my time and wait for an opening. As he said himself, he's a head of state, a seasoned politician. He won't open himself up to attack easily. I can't let him bully me into submission. I have to stay calm and alert. If I can read his movements and expressions correctly, I may be able to find my moment. My first aim should be to find why is he insisting on Zhang Fa taking over the case. The board is set. Time to make my opening gambit. Please, about the case. Did I give you permission to speak? No. 1,000 times no. I'm the leader of Zhang Fa. I have no time for your insolent back chat. I was simply hoping to confirm one basic fact. You say the investigation will now be assigned to your national police force? I do. Now enough of your pointless questions. Good boy. The interior of this plane is the sovereignty territory of Zhang Fa. You have no rights. That's so. Could it be that our current location itself is significant somehow? I should keep that in mind. It should be a useful clue. Could you at least explain to me why I'm off the case? Imbecile! Cease your insolent jabbering. I need not explain myself to you. My reasons are my own, and they are none of your concern. Perhaps it's time to employ my clue. In the course of our conversation, I've deduced certain facts from your behavior, Mr. President. For example, you seem particularly aggressive when discussing our current location. You're smarmy, smart aleck. As you said yourself, the presidential plane is the sovereignty territory of Zhang Fa. And from that, we can infer that you believe the rules of extraterritoriality applies inside here. Is that correct? Enough! Fix your objectionable whining. You can rant and roar all you like, but you won't escape my scrutiny. It was unmistakable. The moment I mentioned extraterritoriality, you became visibly agitated. You think you're clever, don't you? Let me answer your little question. That's true. Extraterritoriality applies. Your laws mean nothing here. And why does that matter, you ask? To be very honest with you, the planes, it doesn't matter if it's the president's plane. If his plane was in another country, there's no extraterritoriality rights on that plane. So if he goes and lands like in China, do you know China can literally own that plane? There's no extraterritoriality rights on that plane. China can literally say that that plane is theirs. It matters because it means you are pointless. You have neither influence nor authority here. Interesting. So the extraterritoriality issue does have something to do with all of this. Let's dig a little deeper in the claim that the plane is salvage territory, shall we? The next move will surely decide the victor. He may be the president, but nobody is untouchable. I just have to find the right angle of attack. Surely you see that you have overplayed your hand. Nobody asked for your opinion. You need only obey me. Nobody else. You dare tell me how to govern? How to lead? You dare contradict me? On the matter of Miss Lloyd's guilt, yes I do. No, she's guilty. She's the culprit. There is nothing left to debate. Who else could have fired from outside the plane? There is no other viable suspect. Fascinating. So he's claiming that Miss Lloyd fired at him from outside the plane? This could be a vital clue. Yeah, you might want to look that up someday. The plane is just an object. But here in the United States, you know we have so many Air Force Ones in the United States, so if one gets destroyed, they got another one. I bet you he doesn't even use the same plane on other days. There may be some days, there could be two Air Force One flying in the air. You may never know that. And the president's only on one of them. You believe the extraterritoriality applies here, but can you prove it? Do you even understand what you're asking? Of course. If I didn't, I wouldn't ask it. Have you no shame? Calling into question the good of one such as myself? I have no more time for this. You clearly cannot be saved from your own foolishness. You ain't worry about me. I'm not the one who needs saving. That would be Miss Lloyd, the woman who is being wrongfully accused of this crime. Your chivalry is admirable, but it changes nothing. The right to extraterritoriality cannot be denied. This is Zhang Fa. Time to deploy my clue. I may not be able to call the extraterritoriality of the presidential plane into doubt. However, according to you, she shot at you from outside the aircraft, correct? In which case, extraterritoriality would not possibly apply in this case. Your assertion is extremely without merit, and the determination of Miss Lloyd cannot be justified. How could I have? Bested by a mere prosecutor. Well, I am the president. The president! Checkmate. I trust you won't mind if we continue our investigation on Mr. President? I hereby officially and unreservedly confer my approval, considering it a gesture of magnanimity and generosity for which my good office is known. Yes, for without noble act, unmistakably and irrefutable, for which reason we hereby, there can be no other outcome, for our goal are lofty in our hearts. People of Zhang Fa, I swear to you here and now, this investigation will continue. All that when he could have just said, okay, you got me. Mr. Knight, if you could care to return the evidence, take it. Case evidence retrieved from Mr. Knight. We did it, Mr. Edgeworth! Sure did. And now the investigation can continue. Whatever. Enjoy your pocket full of your pawns. I'll be over here enjoying how you put them into play. And you'll definitely enjoy my next move. Mr. President, one more favor. If you would be so kind, what is it? Would you please give us your testimony concerning the incident itself? Now you want me to testify? Whoa, that's your next move? If you want the president to testify, you'll have to take him to court. All in good time, Mr. Knight. He will get his day in court soon enough. But if a person of interest prefers to cooperate the investigation stage of the process, they are obligated to provide detailed justification as to the reasons for doing so. For that matter, is there something you'd rather we didn't know? Stand down, Knight. I'll do as the prosecutor asks. Thank you for your cooperation. Now listen, and listen well. President Wang's testimony. Where was I when the incident occurred? The stage, of course. Suddenly, Rook and Knight jumped in front of me. Then, bang! A shot rang out and a plain, embellished balloon of red exploded nearby. Not hesitating from an instant, my bodyguards tried to escort me back to the safety of the plane. Then, second shot. The bullet went right through Rook and lodged into itself into the bulletproof vest I was wearing. I guess if you look at it in one way, the president is also a victim here. Yes, the victim of an attempted assassination. Rick was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that makes it even weirder. Why would the target of a crime try to obstruct the investigation? My guess is that there's something behind all of that he doesn't want made public. A cover-up, huh? I knew there was more to this case than meets the eye. The president isn't the only one who knows the truth. Isn't that right, Mr. Knight? Time to get to the bottom of this once and for all. There are 6 statements, Di.
Hold it!
And how would you describe the incident exactly? Oh, you naive little man. Do you really think you simple questions will shake me? I was involved in a craven attempt to silence me with cold steel. And while I was speaking to my adoring public, no less. Here's what I don't understand. He says cold steel, but that bullet comes out of that gun piping hot.
Hold it!
When they stepped in to protect you, were you aware of the fact that you were being targeted? Was I aware of that? No, I was unaware of my audience. Nothing else. When I stepped up to the podium, I entered another world entirely. A place of rupture. A place beyond words. Yeah, I think that's called stage fright. I bet you were like a deer in headlights. No, 1,000 times no. I remember every second, every moment, and indelibly etched in my memory. When Rook and Knight stepped in, I was shocked, overwhelmed, taken aback.
Hold it!
About the red balloon. Are you trying to test me, Mr. Prosecutor? No, Mr. President, I simply wish to confirm what you remember. Very well. There were 2 very large, very round balloons, one on either side of the stage. Their deep crimson hue stood stark against the sky, just as the security plan said they would. Same security plan we found in the trash can, I assume? Rook and Knight leaped to my aid just before the balloon exploded.
Hold it!
You said they tried to escort you back into the plane? Yes, that is exactly what I said. They threw open their attache case. Must be the moment Kay captured on camera. And immediately moved to help me back under the aircraft.
Hold it!
Do you know where the second bullet went? Is this how you treat a foreign dignitary? Or do you really think such needling questions necessary? Wow, what's he upset about? Must you insult on everything over the same details again and again? Even my patience has limits. Please don't advertise over there on Kick. We don't appreciate stuff advertising. We will not pay for our followers. Matter of fact, that should be against Kick's terms of service. Okay. You know full well where it went.
Hold it!
If I may ask, what was the victim like in that moment? He was a man against men. A real hero. The mere impact of the bullet took my breath away, and yet he had the strength to grab me and rush me back inside the presidential plane. So you and the victim entered the plane together, is that correct? Yes. He offered his noble protection, and I gladly accepted it. All was as it should be. That sounds nice and all, but doesn't that just mean he's always the first to make his escape? He's the president, detective. Basically, it's in his job description to do so. Nothing he's saying seems to be off base. Guy's a victim here. Wouldn't make much sense for him to lie to us, you know? Guess we gotta assume he's telling the... No. One of the things he said is clearly wrong. Think back to the scene of the crime. Huh? Did we miss something? Alright, let me see the evidence again. I might as well take another look myself. Alright, you know what statement? Okay, what piece of evidence do you think it is? This one? You say it was a plain red balloon that burst? I strongly beg to differ. What? Take a look at this. I think you'd agree that it's hardly plain, wouldn't you? No! What? Who was that? Mr. President, meet the Steel Samurai. I would have hoped you might recognize him, especially if you were hoping to ingratiate yourself with the people of this country. The words. Yeah, you need to watch the Jammin' Ninja too. He's amazing. So you see, the balloon that was struck by the bullet was anything but plain. It was, in fact, of the Steel Samurai. But the briefing mentioned 2 plain red balloons. And they were right on the security plan. They do look pretty plain, don't they? Just simple round balloons. Knight, what is the meaning of this? Explain yourself. Yes, Mr. President. It seems the Steel Samurai balloon was borrowed at the last minute, sir. Borrowed? That's what we were told. Guess he only reported the incident to us bodyguards, though. Seems that was a little trouble. Seems there was a little trouble here on site last night. One of the original balloons burst somehow, so they swapped it in an emergency replacement. Yeah, one of the stall holders happened to have it. From what I hear, he was more than willing to lend it out. A very happy-go-lucky kind of guy, they said. Happy-go-lucky stall holder with a Steel Samurai balloon to spare, huh? They filled just the bottom part with air to make it look like the other ornamental balloon. So, while it was a Steel Samurai balloon, it was made to look like a plain red one above water. Is that the long and short of it? Knight, why was I not informed of this? Sorry, sir. We didn't think it was a pressing issue. Indeed. You saw it and knew no different, correct? Yes, I suppose so. Could you really have mistaken the Steel Samurai's pants for a plain red balloon? Still, Mr. President, I struggle to see how you wouldn't have noticed something different about the balloon. Of course! Well, what's the outburst for? No, I remember. I could barely see the balloon. You couldn't see it? That's right. The wind was blowing so hard. The flags to the side of the stage were flapping incessantly and blocking my view. Is that so? Yes, those 2 flags. They were being blown back towards me. There would have been a strong wind blowing right around the time of the incident. Strong enough to blow the flags in just such a fashion. But does that conflict in any way with our understanding of the case? Thank you, Mr. President. Your testimony has revealed yet another contradiction. It has? Yes, a contradiction that could turn this entire case on its head. When I arrived on the scene, the wind had died down and the flags were resting calmly for the most part. But if the wind had previously been blowing the flags as the President described, a certain piece of evidence suddenly takes on a very different meaning. Which piece of evidence contradicts the state of the conditions of the stage at the time of the incident? Well, this should be easy, Di. It should be very easy to see. The last stream, you kept wanting me to pick it, too.
Take that!
Earlier, we deduced that the bullet that struck the steel samurai balloon and the bullet that passed through the flag were one and the same. From these two things, we further deduced the trajectory that the bullet must have taken, and we concluded that our shooter must have fired from the left side of the spectator area. But the flags were blown as the president described, our conclusion becomes quite different. No way! If the flags are pointing in the other direction, exactly, our trajectory changes completely. And if we trace the trajectory back to its source, we can ascertain who really fired that shot. Wait, but Mr. Edgeworth, that would mean... Yes, I know. We may not yet understand the reason why, but it only have been one person who did it. Who does the bullet new trajectory implicate as the one that fired the shot? This one should be very easy, and one actually makes sense. Okay, there you go. Well, if Rook was the one that fired that, he would have also been the person who shot himself. So instead of a murder, we have a suicide if you're going to pick Rook. Which then we also have another contradiction. There was no bullets fired out of Rook's gun. So it definitely cannot be suicide.
Take that!
The person who fired the shot was none other than you, Mr. Knight. What? The path from the balloon back to the flag leads directly to the spot where you were standing. Bullet trajectory data updated in my organizer. But the guy's on the president's bodyguard. Why the heck would he go around shooting balloons? This is absurd. What exactly are you trying to imply? That Mr. Knight, a man who has saved my life countless times, is my would-be assassin? Seriously, Edgeworth. We put up with a lot from you, but this? We're President Wang's bodyguards. We're the pieces put on the board to protect the king. I'll handle this, Knight. Sorry, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, the wind was indeed blowing quite fiercely around the top of my face. But the wind can pick up and die away in an instant, can it not? Therefore, I need proof. Proof that it was blowing hard enough to lift the flag during that crucial moment. First shot was fired right around the time the president raised his fist. I have a piece of evidence that shows just that. Perhaps it can also show us what was happening with the flag then too. So, we only have one piece of evidence to actually show that.
Take that!
Your proof is in the picture right here. This should be good. Which picture? Where? We can see which way the flags were really blowing right here. So, where do you want me to put the cursor? Far right. Okay, we'll put it on the far right. Well, do you deny that it clearly shows the flag? There we have it. Proof that it was blowing towards you at the moment of the shooting. Well, that means our pal over there did shoot the balloon, making him the assassin? Mr. Knight. Somebody is learning. Somebody is learning. Is not the assassin. He may have shot the balloon, but the president was on the other side of him entirely. Therefore, he can't have been aiming at his boss. Yeah, besides, why would I even shoot the balloon? What would be the point? And watch how you answer, or I might aim for something else next. There was a point. I'm sure of it. If I can figure out what it was, perhaps I can finally put this whole conundrum to rest. Knight definitely shot the balloon. The revised trajectory data shows the Knight shot the right side balloon. The fact alone changes everything about this case. Okay. Why did Knight's assigned position change? I told you, I can't turn my neck to the right. Could only cover the president's left side. So I wound up moving to the right of the stage. But is that the only reason? Let us suppose the plan hadn't changed. The Knight had remained positioned on the left. Given that he was unable to turn his head to the right, would he even have been able to shoot the balloon closest to him? Could it be that the security plan was changed for the express purpose of popping one of the balloons? And if he was supposed to be, and if we suppose that to be the case, the two plans are different. Was the security detail reorganized at some point? Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. President's orders. That's right, the president was the one who ordered the change. Changed on the president's order so Knight could pop the balloon. If I'm reading this things right, the president knew in advance about the balloon shooting, which means he must have known foreknowledge he would be in someone's crosshairs today as well. If that's true, then everything else that's been bothering me falls neatly into place. How did the shooter get a gun past such heavy security? And why would they then carry out the shooting wearing such a conspicuous item of clothing? Why use a laser sight that would give away their location in an instant? And how did the president suffer no injuries at all despite a direct hit to his vest? These are the questions that Knight and the president don't want us to consider. There's only one possible reason for Mr. Knight to have fired his gun: to create the illusion of an assassination attempt. What? Huh? Idiot. You do understand what you're saying. Oh, I understand all too well. I understand everything now. Most of all, I understand why you were so keen to take this investigation off my hands, Mr. President. You wanted your real plans to remain hidden. How dare you speak to me that way? Is this some sort of sick joke? Oh, it's no joke, I assure you. It's simply the truth, as revealed by the careful application of logic and reasoning, nothing more. The first shot was fired by Mr. Knight with the specific intention of hitting that balloon. The sound of gunfire and the bursting of that balloon were guaranteed to cause a panic, and then he fired again. He did? Yes, he fired 2 bullets, both of which were aimed at the balloon. As for why he did so, it's because the second shot was designed to create the impression the president had been hit. So then, what's the deal with the one in the vest? I'm willing to bet the bullet was planned there long before the shooting ever occurred. So Mr. Heroic President didn't take a bullet after all. That's not true. I was shot, I tell you. We'll be able to verify that for ourselves once we take a closer look at the bullet. At the very least, we can expect to find traces of Rook's blood on it, correct? But you said it yourself. You found the shooter in a photograph, the person with the red hood.
Objection!
I thought I made myself clear. The trajectory points to only one possible shooter, Mr. Knight. Then where does Tabby fit in all this? It was simply one of their plans, in order to place the suspicion elsewhere. They set about creating a fake assassin, the highly suspicious person with the red coat. I have yet to ascertain exactly how complicit Miss Lloyd was in this whole scheme, but I can say with some confidence that none of the shots were fired by her. I suspect her only job was to put a laser sight on the president. That's right! Then I was tasked with turning your jacket inside out the moment the crowd flew into a panic, yes. Thus making the suspicious red-hooded shooter disappear in the blink of an eye. Then when the gun and the security plans were later found in the trash can, it would have all appeared to have been the work of an assassin so skilled they could vanish in thin air. Then the case would have gone cold. Exactly what our friends were hoping for. Makes sense now why they wanted you off the case. Indeed, because the entire affair was a cheap ruse perpetrated by the president himself. The presidential mask has well and truly slept. Admit it, the entire assassination was a lie, wasn't it? If the stupid chief prosecutor hadn't insisted on assigning you, how could I let this happen?
Objection!
That's enough, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight. Sorry, but I'm speaking with the president right now. Yeah, well, I'm doing my job as a knight and protecting my king. So go ahead, keep running your mouth. Perhaps it would be better if we stuck to threatening each other with words. He wouldn't, would he? Nah, I don't need this thing to shut you up. Alright, my move. Question. You claim I fired my gun from on stage. How do you figure I did that? In front of a crowd of 1,000. An excellent point. Time for my counter move, I suppose. I had a certain something that allowed you to conceal your actions. Certain something, huh? Mighty specific. What did Knight use to hide his actions from the crowd? Well, this should be pretty easy, Di. Think. 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 What did he have it in hand to conceal the weapon? What did he have in hand to conceal the weapon? You know this by now. No, he didn't have a coat. He was on stage with the president. Think. Well, it's not exactly a briefcase, but it is definitely close enough.
Take that!
My attaché case? Yes. Take a look at case photograph. Your right hand is completely obscured by the case. At the very moment this picture was taken, you were firing your gun. God dang it. Guys over at Kick, stop self-advertising yourself. I don't buy followers or subscribers. And in such a way that you wouldn't be detected.
Objection!
You don't like to let the facts get in the way of a good theory, do you, Edgeworth? Shame you don't seem to have noticed. Noticed what? That theories are all you have, conjectures, nothing more. The flag was billowing in the wind at precisely the right moment. I hid my gun with my attaché case. We changed the security plan because I couldn't turn my head. It's all just a speculation. Circumstantial evidence, at best. You can't prove any of it. If you at least had the bullet that burst the balloon, you might have a scrap of credibility. I think I know where the bullet is. Di, do you know where it's at? If you don't think too hard about it, you'll probably figure out where the bullet's at. Because the location of the bullet is actually pretty easy to figure out. Look anywhere in the presidential plane. Look anywhere in that plane. What do you see? That will be your clue. That will be your clue. Imagine, you could have run forensics to see if it matched my gun. But no, that bullet is at the bottom of the lake. You're gonna go dredge it up? I hate to say it, but he's right. I don't have anything concrete. Thought not. Maybe now you can shut your mouth. Miss Lloyd? Of course. She could shed some light on this whole situation. I just need to get her to talk. What's the matter? Something you want to say, Miss Journalist? Never mind. That's what I thought. Miss Lloyd! I need you to be brave. If you don't speak up, the truth will be lost forever. You are a journalist after all, are you not? Dang it! I can't stay quiet any longer. Hey, you understand what you're doing, right? I'd think carefully before opening that mouth of yours. I was so focused on bagging me a scoop, I forgot the most important thing of all. Real journalists don't lie. Ain't no dang scoop if it ain't the truth. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I should have showed you this before. What is it? It's the laser pointer I use on the president. But that's all I done. I never shoot nobody. You stupid. I thought I told you. You squeal and you go down as an accomplice. It was him. He told me to do it. I was in Jank Fall Embassy sniffing out a story like I told you. This was 3 days back. He comes up to me out of the blue, just starts talking. Help me out, and I'll get you an exclusive access to the president. That kind of stuff. But what about the gun in the trash can? That I don't know nothing about, I swear it. All he told me was to wear a jacket with a red hood to point their pointer at the president. I never thought for a minute it'd blow up in my face so bad. I'm sorry, truly I am. Thank you, Miss Lloyd. I'd like you to testify to the effect when this goes to court. It ought to go a long way towards proving the assassination was a sham. Ugh. What's wrong with you people? Don't any of you know what's good for you? My sympathies, Mr. Knight. Had you successfully removed me from this case as you intended, perhaps that you could have kept your pawn quiet. Hmm? So, let me get this straight. You told Tabby, if you let slip about our fake assassination plan, we'll have you convicted for murder? He does, doesn't he? Or something like that? Of all the dirty! I said no such thing. President Wang? Give it up, Knight. It's time we came clean. It's our early choice. Mr. President, you admit it? You admit that there was a plot to fake an assassination attempt? I do. I'm sorry. But why? Why do something like that? My popularity has been on the plane back home. I thought surviving an attempt on my life might give me the boost I needed. I know what we did was wrong, so yes, it was all lies. All of it. And the bullet in the vest? It was planned ahead of time. I wasn't hit by anything today. Bulletproof vest data updated in my organizer. But then, what was up with the killer? Our plan got out somehow. And then he just appeared, hell-bent on turning our fake assassination into a real one. Hence the red raincoat, I suppose. He'd hoped to get in close enough as the fake assassin to finish the job. This is one thing. There is one thing I don't understand, though. Oh? And what would that be? Why did Rook have to die? If the whole thing was fake, how did he wind up getting killed for real? That's true. And therein lies the real question. He was a fine bodyguard. The best, in fact. He may not have been a native of Zhangfa, but he was someone I could fully trust. He is silent and looking the other direction. That's suspicious. Mr. Rook must have been really something to gain the trust of someone who'd hide from his own shadow. Sounds like he was as trustworthy to the president as I am to you, huh, sir? I believe that's for me to say, Detective, not you. Mr. Rook must have known about the plan too, then, correct? He wasn't aware of any specific details, so not really. I tried to involve him, but he refused. And you would have done well to listen to him. This is a tragedy. Life of a good man has been wasted. What was so great about him anyway? What's he gotten into? Here's just another piece on the board. There to protect you, nothing more. Mr. Knight, how could you? Who was it that actually went along with your plan, huh, Mr. President? While the PS crowd backed down when you needed him to step up the most. I value your support too, of course, but... Look, I'm your chief bodyguard now. That's all that matters. Now that the spineless fool Rook is gone, things are going to change around here. Thanks to me, genius strategist, grandmaster, rightful leader of this team. We are all aware of your ambitions, Knight. But, doesn't it seem a little impudent to you? Why? My plan this time was perfect, as they always are, and as they always will be. Quite a statement. Especially consider that your perfect plan was an just failure. Yeah, no thanks to you. And that buffoon Rook. And how exactly was it Mr. Rook's fault? If he hadn't died, the killer would have never come after me. I wouldn't have had to let you on this plane. Please, Mr. Knight, I mustn't talk like that. Fine. The guy died protecting you, Mr. President. I'm sure that's just what he always wanted. But did he die protecting the president? Wait, I thought this whole assassination thing was a fake. Oh, come on. Do I have to say anything twice? We planned a fake assassination, but somebody else came along and tried to make it real. 2 shots were fired, remember? Like you said, Edgeworth, one of them was the bullet I shot through the balloon. But the second? That wasn't me. Oh, really? And who fired it? The real assassin, not the killer. His plan was to come after the president with a knife. No. Most likely suspect here is the piece cowering quietly in the corner. Our little white queen over there. What? Miss Lloyd? Again with this. I'm not your dang it assassin. Is that really true? I, for one, don't believe it. The gun in the trash can? It can only belong to you. Knight's Gambit. As soon as I shot the balloon, I rushed over to Rook, escort the president back into the plane. I left Rook here in this room while I secured the president in the safe room. When I came back to Rook, was lying there on the ground. Miss Journalist must have shot Rook while we were escorting the president off stage. That single killer shot was fired by the gun you found in the trash can. So, you don't exactly know when the victim was struck by the bullet, do you? The knight doesn't protect the rook, Edgeworth. He protects the king. You want to translate? It means that his only concern was protecting the president. Lose the knight and you lose the game. Isn't that the first rule of chess? But a win in which a key piece is sacrificed is a hollow victory indeed. Doesn't matter, it's still a victory. We kept the president safe. I win. Well, it's a bit early to be calling our little match in any case. For this is where our battle really begins.
Hold it!
The victim really didn't take part in your little plan, did he? Nope. And we kept him in the dark on the details. So he really thought the president was in danger? But wait, he must have noticed that the shot came from right next to him. Maybe he did. Guess we'll never know. And if he did, no, it was a shame. He still had a job to do. Still had to protect his king. And he was able to make a judgment like that in a split second? Impressive. He really was as capable as they say. Not so capable that I couldn't read him like a book. Made it so he had no choice but to go along with our little performance.
Hold it!
Why do that? You and the president both knew the whole thing wasn't real. But it had to seem real. There were people everywhere. It's not a good look, right? Imagine if someone had spotted a man who'd just been shot at. Hanging out in his plane, sipping grape juice like he didn't have a care in the world? And what was the victim doing during all of this? Who knows? I was in the safe room, like I said. Anyway.
Hold it!
Were you on the ground exactly? Right where he is now, the middle of the floor. The door to the outside was shut though. Guess the bullet must have hit him right before he closed it. And thanks to his little blunder, my old plan fell apart. It's not, you mustn't talk that way. He may have kept you safe, Mr. President, but he isn't here now to save your good name. I'd call that dereliction of duty. What would you call it? An honorable try, which is more than what you'd give, I'd say. Sorry, but that's just how it is.
Hold it!
Weren't you and Mr. Rook carrying bulletproof attache cases? Yes. Opened them right after Rook spotted the laser sight. We moved into covering positions and used them to shield the president. So the bullet that hit Mr. Rook traveled through a gap into the defensive shield? Do you really believe Miss Lloyd to be that skilled as a marksman? No? She was aiming for the president. That makes her a lousy shot. So it was pure coincidence that Mr. Rook was hit? And the bullet simply happened to find its way past your attache case and through the gap in his vest? Seems crazy to me too, but the facts are the facts. Or so you think are the facts. It was a shot in a million, but the shooter hit the bullseye, and the proof is in your hands. So the second shot had nothing to do with you? Right. That one was fired by your little friend. Imagine the scoop she'd have bagged if it had hit its mark. I'm a journalist, you hear? I don't make facts, I report them. Yeah, a journalist who signed up to a fake assassination plan in the hopes of getting a story. That's not... Look, I'll admit it. I set the whole thing up. And your role was to aim that laser pointer at the president. It's not my fault that wasn't enough for you. You were the one who decided to bring a gun to the party. Who knows? Maybe you thought if you kept on shooting, you could shut me up too. So Mr. Knight's suggesting that he had fired one shot and then Miss Lloyd fired one more. Yeah, basically implying that Tabby also had a gun on her. Beats me where she could have got one from. But hey, his entire testimony is pure conjecture. Can't prove any of it. You're right. Just hit him with some solid, hard-cold, undeniable evidence. Do you know the statement die? Nope. It's gonna be this one. It is going to be this one. This one should be easy to figure out.
Objection!
So, you contend that it was you who shot the balloon and Miss Lloyd who shot Mr. Rook? Are you sure about that? Sure, I'm sure. While what you propose would indeed match up with the total number of shots heard, the gun from the trash can itself has also been fired twice. The number of times he's done that, I'm surprised there's still any bullets left in that gun. Now, why would the supposed number of shots heard from this gun differ from the number of spent rounds? It's simple, because it was planted by the real perpetrator of the crime. Somebody faked the evidence? Yes. If you think about it, their reason for doing so is obvious. To ensure that whoever found the gun would conclude that the shooter had been in the spectator area. And in order to do that, they had to make it seem as if both shots had come from this one weapon. I get it. So that's why it's got 2 spent rounds, huh? Precisely. As we have already proven, the bullet that burst the balloon came from a different weapon, which means it's entirely possible that the bullet which killed Mr. Rook didn't come from this gun either. Ha! Nice work, Edgeworth. Some high-grade sleuthing. But why don't you get to the point? Come this far, spit it out. Oh, I intend to, don't worry. The person who really shot Mr. Rook was...
Take that!
You, Mr. Knight. You're the one who murdered Mr. Rook. Ooh, finally got up the courage to say it, huh? Surely not. Surely you wouldn't have. It wasn't only the killer who tried to take advantage of this fake murder plot. He killed Mr. Rook hoping that he would look like an accidental victim of the Bangled assassination. With the president locked away in the safe room and the door of the plane tightly closed, it was just you and Mr. Rook alone together. And that was when the third bullet was fired right into Mr. Colleague's body.
Objection!
Wait, you're really gonna claim there's a third one now? You just said only 2 gunshots were heard. Wanna tell me how that works?
Objection!
Airplane cabins are practically soundproof, Mr. Knight. If you close the door, nothing can be heard from the outside. Not even gunfire. But it wasn't the president right next door. Very true, which means he may have heard the shot himself. Well, Mr. President, I didn't hear anything. But you can observe this room through your security feed, can you not? The camera in this room isn't normally on. I have to manually switch it on when I enter the safe room. And that's when you did this time too, right? Well, that is... What's gotten into him? Mr. President, this is vitally important. Please, President Wang, stop playing with your face. Oh, I was busy hiding under the bed, covering my ears. Can't stop playing with my face. What? Even though you knew this whole thing wasn't real? Yes, because I hate the sound of guns. Just to say it's hearing the awful noise and, it's just too much. Oops. That there's sadder than a pot of overcooked crawfish. Mr. Knight, you saw that President Wang was covering beneath the bed. And what's more, you knew from the monitor bank that the security camera from this room hadn't been switched on. Which means you knew that the circumstances were perfect for you to fire the third shot straight at Mr. Rook. Knight, how could you? How could you really have betrayed my trust so horribly? Why can't I stop playing with my face? Mr. President, stop playing with your face. I can't. You think I killed the old half-wit? You don't trust me much, huh? This is the thanks I get for putting my life on the line for you day after day. I want to believe you, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. What is there to doubt there? What? You don't believe that the girl over there could have done it? No, because this gun isn't the murder weapon. We know this from the number of the bullets fired. Yeah? Well, how do you know there wasn't a spent bullet from the start? What? Someone could have fired a bullet from the gun yesterday or the day before. And today, another bullet. Bullet that hit Rook. That's pure speculation, pal, and you know it. Maybe. But can you prove it's not true? Not with any certainty, no. You're nothing without conclusive evidence, so come on. A single piece of evidence, straight through my heart. I dare you. Well, what are you waiting for? There must be something. Mustn't there, Mr. Edgeworth? If we can't prove it, Tabby's... These ruffles... I messed up. I know I did. I should have never have done what I did. Not even for a scoop. But murder? Nah, that ain't me. Ain't a murderous bone in my body. Conclusive proof. If only I could prove that Knight's gun is the murder weapon. Wait. Perhaps I can. If you at least had the bullet that burst the balloon, you might have a scrap of credibility. Imagine, could have run forensics to see if it matched my gun. We had the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Forensics could tell us which gun it was fired from. No proof, no case. End of conversation.
Objection!
Hold it right there! What now? You're not about to claim that you do have proof. Of course I do. This ought to be good. Alright, bring it on. Show me the proof of yours. The bullet that killed Mr. Rook is the key to ending our little game. Very well. My conclusive evidence is... not currently in my possession. Alright then, thanks for playing, folks, but that's game over. However, it is here in this room. What? As we know, the bullet that killed Mr. Rook passed through his body. But where did it end in its journey? Perhaps we should cast our minds back to an earlier conversation. After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged into the vest. He's right. If the president hadn't been wearing that vest, things could have been a lot worse. Now, of course, we know that the so-called assassination attempt was a complete fabrication. The vest was prepared in advance, made it to look as if he had been hit by a bullet. Which begs the question, where is the real bullet? Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for 1 second and I'm gonna tell you something. If you played the fan translation, you know that this part of the case has been changed. For one, there was a situation with the gun. I do remember that. Because they changed the story with the gun in this version. I'm also pretty sure they changed the events of how the assassination went as well. So, while it's still closely related to the fan translation, it was altered slightly. So if you haven't played the fan translation, you should check it out and see how much of it has been changed, because you'll find out that this version has changed quite a bit. This is the reason why I'm playing this version instead of the fan translation, because this version is now canon. I like it, a twist. This is good stuff, Edgeworth. Come on now. Come on then. Don't keep us in suspense. Does any of the evidence point to where the bullet that killed Mr. Rook might have ended up? And where do you think the bullet ended up, Di? Remember, I told you to keep this in mind. This should be your clue. No, we already proved that the vest is fake. The vest is fabricated. But it is inside the plane. No, the case has no bullet into it. Do you want to hear her to help you, Di? No, it went clean through the body. It went clean through the body. Now we got to figure out where the bullet went. You want to hear her to help you out? The security monitors.
Take that!
There's something very clearly missing from this room. Yes? A prosecutor with some common sense. Take a look at the bank of security monitors. Oh. I see you've caught on, Mr. President. Splendid. There are screens here showing views from all around this plane, inside and out. Di might know the answer. The only external angle not covered in the right-hand side of the air is the right-hand side of the aircraft. And that's because one of the monitors is missing. There was a monitor in that space previously, wasn't there, Mr. President? There was. I have no idea what my plushie is doing there now, so... It appears to be someone's vain attempt to hide what is obviously lacking. But where did it go and why? The why is easy enough to answer because it was struck by a bullet. For if we were to believe that the bullet in the vest was the real deal, then anything that hinted at the existence of another bullet had to be removed. So, where did the missing monitor go? Where indeed? I believe that it must be hidden somewhere on this plane. After all, there wouldn't have been time to dispose of it outside the aircraft. Detective Gumshoe, conduct a search if you would. Right away, sir. Mr. President, extraterritoriality, remember? I have no objection to the search. Please, go ahead. If it will help us discover the truth behind what happened to Rook, I will not stand in your way. I can't stop playing with my face. What are you? I don't believe this! Rook, this. Rook, that. Don't you ever think about anybody else? Search has been authorized, Detective, if you won't mind. Sir, I found the monitor. Excellent work. Now go ahead and extract the bullet. let's do this. Let's put my hand in here and just come on and come on. Got it! Well, would you look at that blood? This is the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. There's no doubt about it. Bloody bullet data jetted down in my organizer. And there you have it, Mr. Knight. The single piece of evidence you requested, straight through your heart. Even you must now admit that this bullet didn't come from the spectator area gun. Miss Lloyd could not have killed Mr. Rook's killer. What? No pithy comeback? Detective, have forensic can analyze the bullet for illustrations and compare them to the gun we found. Yes, sir. We'll get the evidence you need. You can count on it. All right. Let's hear what forensic has to say. That is very detailed. You can now see his gut in the sprite. I don't remember seeing that in the other one. He looks a little shorter now, too. Our findings are as follows, sir. Firstly, the blood on the bullet is indeed that of the victim, proving that it was the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Secondly, we found Mr. Knight's fingerprints on the gun, probably from when I handed all the evidence over to him. Now for the key part, the striations. If they're not a match, then Miss Lloyd is in the clear. Lastly, the striation on the bullet are a match with this weapon. What? But how could that be? No way! Come on! There's no doubt about it, sir. This is the gun that fired the bullet. Ow! Well, isn't that something? Conclusive proof that I was right. What's the matter? You didn't think you had me back into a corner, did you? Guess you misread the board. Because the only one backed into a corner here is you. Knight's counter. There's no denying it. Forensic proved that the gun and the bullet are a match. The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the spectator area. Yeah. So, who pulled the trigger? It can't have been me. I was up on stage, which leaves your little friend. The hack killed Rook. She's the murderer, and you just proved it. Your move, Edgeworth. Just remember two things. One, where you found that gun. And two, which gun the fatal bullet came from. Whichever way you look at it, I can't have been the shooter. How did it come to this? Me and the president? We admitted to faking the assassination attempt. Now it's your turn to admit something. Who the killer really is. There's no way Tabby did it, is there? Don't let him get you... Blah, blah, blah. Don't let him get to you, Kay. We just need to go over his statements again. There must be something further we can deduce from them. Okay, let's do this, Mr. Edgeworth.
Hold it!
No, that's...
Objection!
What was it you said? The forensic would back you up? Ugh. How does it feel to be shot in the chest by your own conclusive evidence, huh? Not so good, I imagine. The bullet and the gun are a match, Mr. Edgeworth. That kind of has to mean that Tabby pulled the trigger, no? Even so, I simply cannot accept that. But sir, there's no denying the evidence. There isn't. So what am I missing? If I assume Miss Lloyd to be innocent, then the gun and the bullet shouldn't be a match. What is it, Kay? I was just thinking, if the evidence points to something that doesn't seem possible, then maybe there's something wrong with it? You're asking me to call the evidence into question? Well, there's no way Tabby did this, right? So, if the evidence says that she did, then the problem must lie there. You seem very sure about this. Call it my great thief's intuition. Intuition, huh? Still, she could be right. I simply don't believe Miss Lloyd to be as malicious as to be a malicious liar, which means, as someone who believes the evidence is everything in court, the irony is not lost on me, but if I were to call a piece of evidence into question, it would have to be trick question die. Because the answer that what you're thinking of may not be the right answer. Again, the answer that you're thinking of may not be the right answer. What were you gonna say? So, the bullet itself is the only thing that can't be tampered with, okay? Because there's nobody that's going to take a knife and then change the threads on a bullet to alter the ballistic markings. I don't know anybody to do that. But I can tell you something else. With rifles and stuff, you can tear them apart, so which means the barrel should be able to come off. And most guns that I know, you can take them apart for cleaning. So what would be the answer? We think about it that way. If something if something untoward is going on here, it would have to involve the weapon, not the bullet. After all, we only just recovered the bullet a little while ago. Furthermore, we know that Mr. Knight had an opportunity to handle the gun. But we're also going to think about something else. Remember the situation where we were stepping on the plane. We had to give away the evidence to Mr. Knight. So that's also something we have to think about too, because we're in a situation where they couldn't take the guns apart. So the only thing that would have to happen is we have to think about how the gun was tampered with. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourself from this plane. I think I just finished talking about that. I'd do as he said if I were you, Edgeworth. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Indeed. He had ample opportunity. There's no doubt that this is the gun that was used in the crime, which means it must belong to There's only one answer to this one, Dai.
Take that!
The gun belongs to Mr. Knight. He switched them around. That has to be it. This already gives you the answer to the entire testimony, Dai. But we're not finished with the testimony. So, wait until we get back to the testimony. Mr. Knight's revolver data jotted down in my organizer. Now you know the answer, don't you, Dai?
Hold it!
Mr. Knight?
Objection!
No, you hold it. You were the one who proved this. Or are you saying the forensic was wrong? The bullet had the victim's blood on it, which means it must be the one that took his life. And it does seem to have been fired from the gun we found in the trash can. Don't you just love this? Your face, Edgeworth? What a picture. Of a man in dire straits. Yes, we spotted you. Dire Straits is a band. Has anybody heard of them? Anybody know the song The Walk of Life? Money for Nothing? Let's just agree that the facts are what they are and move on. The gun fired the fatal bullet.
Hold it!
Yes, who indeed? Still can't bring yourself to admit the truth, huh? I get it. I was in your shoes just a few minutes ago. Burned me up on the inside, you know. Made me really want to shoot someone. Sorry. No laughing matter, I know. But we both know who really did shoot someone, don't we? Go ahead and check out Poggers, guys. You could probably buy some Christmas presents for your family members, loved ones.
Hold it!
What proof is there that Miss Lloyd fired the gun? What proof? How about the forensics you ordered? They didn't find her prints though, did they? Yeah, the only prints they found were yours, pal.
Objection!
From when I confiscated the evidence, probably. Anyways, say it wasn't Miss Journalist. Who was it? Because it can't have been me. Your own investigation put the shooter in the Spectator, didn't it? Are you ready to admit it yet? All the evidence points in one direction.
Hold it!
That's not what I proved at all. Oh yeah? So what did you prove? Still trying to make this about how I fired the first shot? Sure, you proved that and I admit it. But so what? You're forgetting that you're here to do one thing and one thing only. You got that right, to uncover the truth. And you think ruining your country's relationship with Zheng Fa is going to do that? No, your job is to solve an attempted assassination. Nothing else. I'll decide on my job, what my job is. Thank you very much. You don't get to tell me what to do. Oh, sure. Let the trial go cold while you flip your wig over who gets to say what to who. Or you could finally do the right thing and admit your little friend is guilty. Never. You're the guilty one here, there's no doubt about it. The markings on the bullet are consistent with those left by the weapon from the trash can. But if Mr. Knight were to have tampered with the gun somehow, he could have only done it once I handed over the evidence and not a moment before. Isn't there anything we can do, Mr. Edgeworth? There must be something. Our reasoning thus far has been sound, I'm sure of it. Which means we can overcome his defense this time as well. Really? Even with the forensics result on his side? If the testimony is untruthful, there's always a contradiction to be found. Let's listen to what he has to say for himself once more time. Alright, you know what the statement is, Di? Should be very easy. Think about what it's saying. So who pulled the trigger? You don't have any evidence to actually support this one. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at the statement and you're trying to find what that statement says and see if it contradicts to any of the evidence you hold. Which is what we're going to be using what evidence for?
Objection!
Admit it. You switched the guns, didn't you, Mr. Knight? That's why the markings match the weapon in question. It was yours all along. Huh. Intriguing move there, Edgeworth. And you must have made the switch when I handed over the evidence. While I was busy trying to make the case of remaining on the investigation, you took the laser sight from the gun we found in the trash can and put it on your own. Then, not long afterwards, you handed that gun back to me instead of the one we found. You do, huh? I did, huh? You think I somehow knew you'd find, let alone run forensics on that bullet sometime in the future? That's so strange. You're a chess player after all. A man well used to thinking several moves ahead. I'm flattered, but much as it pains me to admit it, you're overestimating my abilities. Besides, do you even have any proof that I made the switch? Knight's Counter Part 2. The gun is the same model as mine. Weird, sure, but it's just coincidence. And look, there's a laser sight attached. Also, take a look at the cylinder. 2 spent bullets. Just what we expected to see. So what proof do you have that I switched the original gun out for mine, huh? None, that's what. You say I'm overestimating your abilities. You surprise me. What can I say? I'm a modest guy. More modest than you, that's for sure. Everywhere except at the chessboard, that is. Well, I don't see a chessboard here, don't you? Shame. Still, guess that gives you a nice excuse. I didn't mess up. I didn't have the right evidence. I don't think I'll be the one making excuses. Rather, I didn't mess up. Just got lucky with the evidence. Will be your excuse, I imagine.
Hold it!
A coincidence, you say? Or was it a necessity? It can't be both, pal! Sure it can. 2 bodyguards need to protect the president. And the girl needs to use a gun. She probably doesn't know a whole lot about them. But the gun isn't readily available to the public, so how could she get one? It's not so far-fetched for her to pick something she's heard of that we also happen to use. Okay, but why a revolver? Why is that your go-to gun? It's probably something to do with its ease of use. No spent casing to chase down, for example. Exactly. The perfect tool for a job where you can't afford to fail. Or didn't know what you're doing. Still, coincidence, necessity, doesn't make a whole lot of difference either way.
Hold it!
Because you swapped it on here. Put up or shut up, Edgeworth. Where's your evidence? Well, that is... Don't go making accusations you can't back up. Or did your daddy never teach you that? As it stands, the facts are in my favor.
Hold it!
I've been meaning to ask exactly. What about your own weapon? How many spent bullets are in its cylinder? This old girl here? Well, now... I let loose a few rounds earlier, as you saw. He reloads his gun every time he fires it. But even if I were to tell you how many there were at the time, you'd have no way of verifying that. Of course, in order to swap the guns properly, you have to maintain the right number of bullets per gun. You didn't have the chance to put on any gloves, though, which means... Alright, I think it's about time you did the right thing and reassigned or resigned, don't you? Game's all but done, see?
Hold it!
The proof is something you clearly don't have. If you did, you'd have made your move by now. We do have proof, right, Mr. Edgeworth? We would be given the chance to investigate any further. I'll have to work with what we've gathered. Think, Miles, think. Consider all the possibilities. If you've got the goods, it's now or never. How are we supposed to prove he switched the guns? Unfortunately, we don't have any direct evidence of his wrongdoing. But this in itself is proof of a kind. Besides, because otherwise the illustrations shouldn't line up like they do, right, sir? Right. We must carefully consider and infer what we can from the evidence he brings up in his testimony. Truth is in there somewhere. You know the statement, Di? No, there is a laser scope onto it. There is a laser sight on top of it. So that's not wrong. That's exactly right. Are you pressing? No, we're trying to find a contradiction. You don't know why you typed that. All right, this is the last statement though, but this there's only one piece of evidence that you can actually present for this one.
Objection!
I have your proof right here. That's your proof? I think you've been working too hard, Edgeworth. Not the gun itself, the evidence it carries. Evidence that will prove once and for all that it does in fact belong to you. I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead and make your move. What's about to come into play? The rook? Bishop? Not a pawn, surely. The evidence the gun will prove takes the form of... I'll give you a hint. That should be your hint. Fingerprints. Namely, your fingerprints, Mr. Knight.
Objection!
My prints? Ha! Of course my prints are on that gun. You handed it right to me when you gave up the evidence. How could they not be on there?
Objection!
What if I told you there are prints on the part of the gun that you shouldn't have touched at any point? I also made this point, didn't I? What? Where? You can't prove that. Oh, but I can. There is a place where your fingerprints could never have been left if things happened as you say. Allow me to present the final piece of evidence that will bring your game to its rightful conclusion. Here, look carefully at the cylinder, detective. 2 bullets fired. But where are the prints we're looking for, sir? The barrel, right. So, we are going to examine bullets. This part is called the grip. I've had a few guns in my time, though they've never felt quite right in my hand. This one is no exception. That is not what I wanted to examine. That's what I wanted. You did indeed switch the guns when I handed you the evidence. But if that were all you had done, your deception would have been easily detected, because the number of bullets fired by each gun was different. There's 2 separate bullets in the gun we found. Yeah. But what about Mr. Knight's gun? We know that he fired 2 bullets from the stage into the balloon. And he fired another bullet into Mr. Rook, ending his life. So 3 bullets in total, plus the few odd ones he's let loose in shock during our little game. And after each shot, he reloaded his gun out of habit. With his bare hands, of course. Officer, where exactly were Mr. Knight's fingerprints found? The ones you mentioned in your report. Sir, they were found on the exterior of the weapon, but also on the bullets themselves. I'm not sure they could have gotten there just from me handling you the evidence, Mr. Knight. And there we have it. proof that you did indeed switch the gun. This gun, the one which fired the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, is yours. And in taking a life, you are the true assassin. I didn't. Checkmate. No! I was going to be the new chief of security. There's an Ifly statue, or the Go You statue. That blasted Rook! If it hadn't have been for him, I would have been in charge by now. I would have been in control of this whole team. My plan was perfect. The fake assassination was supposed to be flawless. Detective Gumshoe. Right away, sir. Curse you, Edgeworth! Our game isn't over yet. I'm afraid this is as far as we go for today. The next moves will be in the courtroom. But it's not fair! It's not fair! Oh look, Di! He got his muscles back! March 25th, 5:12 p.m. Gord Lakeside Stage. Mr. Edgeworth, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You exposed a murder within the ranks of my own personal guard. I will not soon forget that. Suddenly very presidential again, now that we're back outside the plane. I saw it, you know. When I first proposed the fake assassination to him. Want me to handle it, not Rook? Rook refused. But I can rely on you, can't I? Of course, sir. You can count on me. I'll put together a plan that can't possibly fail. And he'll play his part like the pawn he is. The hatred in his eyes was plain to see. He despised poor Rook. I was not entirely comfortable about moving forward with Knight in charge of our little deception. And looking back, I think he sensed my discomfort. I can't help thinking I played a part in his decision to end Rook's life. Mr. President, none of this would have happened if you hadn't plotted to fake an attempt on your life. That was your crime, and it is a crime you will have to live with. You are right. I can only apologize for the part I played, and I will no doubt be made to pay for my actions in one way or another. But I thank you nonetheless. You solved the riddle of Rook's demise, and for that, I shall be eternally grateful. I will be here in your country for a little while longer yet. But when I return home, perhaps you will visit us in Zhangfa. You will always be welcome. Oh, thank you. Y'all don't know how grateful I am. All's well that ends well. Miss Lloyd, the accusation of murder? made against you was of course entirely groundless. But the fact remains that you were a willing participant in the staged assassination attempt. The police will no doubt wish to speak to you about that matter. You should be aware that you may well be punished for your actions. I know, and I'm awful sorry about everything. Truly, I am. I understand your desire for a scoop, but there are limits. There sure are. I got me some serious thinking to do. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. That was something else. Local prosecutor solves assassination conundrum, earns eternal gratitude of president. How's that for a headline? Hey, there's my department. Mr. Prosecutor, how does it feel to solve such an important case? He must be over the moon. He certainly doesn't stay down for long. No comment. Dang! You're one tight-lipped son of a gun. As well I should be. This case is not over yet. It isn't? How come, sir? Because up until we unravel the story behind this, the case will never be completely over. Okay, what do you think he's talking about? We have one piece that's still unknown. That still doesn't have an answer.
Take that!
The Killer's calling card. Mr. the Killer has yet to complete his assignment. You mean he might try to murder the president? I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, this could all blow up into something more sinister yet. As one who would expect the attempted assassination of a president, the case was all over the news, and my preparations for Mr. Knight's trial were considerably interrupted by requests from the press. There wasn't a person in the land who didn't know about the case. Everybody was talking about it. But in the midst of the frenzy that followed, nobody noticed that this was only the first move in a game far bigger than any of us could have imagined. Okay. Alrighty then. What do you think of this case? You liked it? Now, we still have the fan translation version of this. So if you want to check the fan translation die, I don't believe it is voiceovered. It doesn't have any commentary. So for that, you're just going to have to read it. So if you want to take a look at the fan translation, you can. Okay? You're not going to be spoiled that much because you've already seen this case. So if you want to take a look at that and see how much different it is, you can. The names of the cases are also changed as well. So, yeah, you get to see the name changes as well. Some of the names I don't mind the changes to. There's still quite a bit of names that I question why they changed, because they sound better in the fan translation. Wang, I think, was the fan translation's mistranslation, because his name is Zhizhong Wang, which in the fan translation, I believe they call him Zhuang, which I think is a mistranslation. Other than that, I will let slide. Tabby Lloyd is a good name. I preferred Tabby Lloyd over the one they had in the fan translation. But you guys can let me know which one do you like. Hiru, you played the fan translation. Are there names that you like better in this one compared to the fan translation, or vice versa? Specifically for this case only, because we don't want to spoil the next case for die. Anyway, then I'm going to try to go ahead and Alright, this is going to be it for me. Tonight, we have to redo the tryouts for the draft, because the emulator kind of crashed. So that's after the stream. If you are interested, Discord link at the bottom of the description. You go to the Acme Studio fan page, you'll be able to watch the stream from there. Okay? If you're interested in a team, let me know, and we will get you a team to participate. Make sure you have Parsec as well, because that's how we're doing the football. It doesn't matter if you go for PFL or Wacky World Football League. I think we have all the teams for the Wacky World Football League right now. There may be openings again. I'll just have to find out. We'll just have to see.